Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to my first internet video on how to do hair. Really excited to be on this journey with you guys and look forward to growing together. So today I'm going to be teaching you an on-base thermal curling set, which I think is really important in like setting for an updo or getting curls in hair that will generally not hold a curl, so like the finer, softer hairs that tend to fall flat. If I have someone who I'm doing a wedding for, I like to use this type of set on those clients who have that fine, weightless kind of hair. I like to use this set so that the curl lasts longer. So I went ahead and curled a Maria beforehand so you guys can kind of see what we're doing. Okay, so this is our Maria right here. Okay, so you can see, oh, some of them are falling out, but you get the idea of what we're doing here. Okay, so I've got my little clippies. I have some regular clips, and I also have a comb. One thing about this comb is it's important to have one that's hard rubber. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it generally says on there, it says hard rubber. When you have these types of combs, they don't melt. So I've noticed a lot of students on the floor where the teeth on their combs are really like warped and kind of like disfigured, and that's caused from too much heat on the rubber. So when you're doing a thermal set, I recommend getting a comb that's specifically made out of hard rubber. I have multiple combs in my arsenal, and this is one that's specific for heat styling. So you can use this to follow the flat iron. You can use this to protect your client's head from the heat of the iron. But that hard rubber is important. Of course, if you don't have one right now, not a big deal. But just saying for a future, it's a good one to have in your kit. Okay, so the first thing I am going to do is I have created a side part on Maria. But if you notice my side part is kind of diagonal. It's not straight back. And that's something that I like to point out because I feel like on updos, because a lot of times I'll use this set prior to an updo, or any type of style, I like to use the diagonal line because it's not as noticeable by the camera. If you have a very hard part, it is more noticeable by the camera. Of course, if that's a look that you're going for, definitely do it. But if it's not, you want something more soft and flowy looking, I definitely recommend this diagonal part. Okay, so it starts here, which you can see is kind of like mid eyebrow, and then it diagonals back to the apex. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna section my hair into 2 quadrants. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave out hair at the bottom, the size of my curling iron. Okay, so it's just like a roller set or perm. The subsection size that you're working with, you wanna make sure that that's the same size as your iron. Also, when you're sectioning hair, start to get in the habit of like not allowing it to fall in the client's face. I know it's just Maria, but learning that and attention to detail, I feel like is going to be a really important part of your longevity in the salon. Nobody likes to have hair all in their face like this while they're getting their hair done. It's not fun and it tickles. Okay, so here, I'll show you, I'll turn her around so y'all can see what I did. Okay, so here is Maria's section. Okay, so, oops. So I have a subsection that's about the size of my curling iron. And now I'm going to begin. Let's adjust this just a little bit here for you guys. All right, so when I'm working, my first one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split these in 2, okay? What we're going to be doing is building a base first, and then we are going to pin our curl, okay? So when you build your base, when you build your base, it's really important important to pay attention to how you elevate the hair, okay? So I'm gonna elevate the hair because I wanna build volume, and I'm going to wrap this hair around the iron like this, and I'm kind of building my base. I'm rocking that hair back and forth, and what that's going to do, as you can see, is it starts to build that lift right there, and that's what we want. We want that volume at the root. Then I'm gonna clamp it, and I'm gonna twist my tail like this. When you hold the tail, it allows you to have a little bit more control of the curl as you're working through the length of the hair. Then I'm going to take my little clippy, the single prong, and I'm going to pin at the base, like that. Now I'm going to do this other side. Building the base first, clamping it, twisting it. You can move this little thing out of your way if you'd like, but just be careful when you set it back down. If you're working on a wood surface, it will burn it if this part touches the wood. I learned that because I ruined a client's table. Yeah, at a wedding. Not fun. So be mindful of that when you're working. My other clip here. And I'm going to pin it on the base like this. Okay, so you guys can see the two right here. Now I'm going to take my next section and when I'm curling, I like to do horseshoe sections, which is why I separate them in two. And it doesn't look like horseshoe right now, but as we move to the top of the head, it will. Okay, so the one thing that's important about this set is, oh, squeaky, oh boy, is that we bricklay our curl pattern. And the reason we bricklay is because then you don't see any separations. If I continued my curl section like this, all of my curls would be separated. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this middle section like this. So it's in the middle of this curl right here, and in the middle of this curl right here. So you can see this section here will cover this separation. I'm going to build my base, clamp my iron. One thing I often notice on finals are clamp marks, and if you just took a final with me a couple weeks ago, then I probably pointed it out to you if you did it on the final in module 3. Here's your comb, protecting your client. But those heat clamp marks are caused by grabbing the hair in the wrong direction. All right, so I'll show you what I mean on this next curl. Okay. So what causes the clamp marks is when this part of your iron, the shell part, when it grabs the hair and it creases it because it's being bent against it like that. So you can see there's kind of that crease right there. So what you want to be mindful of is the way that you grab that curl. Okay, so here I'm going to build my base. And see how my hair is wrapped around my iron before I clamp? That's going to prevent any of those heat marks. When I touch the hair, what I'm feeling for is the hair to be at a certain temperature before I release it. Because if the curl doesn't heat up enough, it's not going to stay. You need to give that hair time to heat up. here is my curl. Forming that around the iron, clamping it, holding this tail. Practice holding this tail. Because when I hold the tail, it allows me to use this area in the back of my curling iron to clamp it out. Because I want to make sure I get all those ends in there. All right, so this is a new Maria that I have with me here. I did give her a trim, a 0 degree haircut, just to get rid of some of those ends. But I did leave the top layers uncut because I wanted you guys to see how to address those, because you're going to have clients who have snarly ends and such, so we want to be able to accommodate all of our clients, okay? If you're in the interest of doing weddings or things like that, we don't always trim their hair before the wedding, so we want to make their hair look good in the state that it's in. All right, so right now I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna move up the head so we can get to the parietal ridge. I'm gonna keep moving as we go, bricklaying my sections, and then when I get to the parietal ridge, I'll be back. All right, welcome back everybody. Here we are. So you can see kind of where I'm at. They're not like exactly perfect, but you can see how there's not really any seams, and that's what we want. Okay, so here I'm left with this top part of the hair, and that's what I wanted to show you. When we get to this part of the hair, we want to make sure that we're thinking about which way the curl goes. Okay, if I'm curling it this way like this, it's going to roll that way. If I curl it back, then it's going to give it lift and volume, and it's going to move away from the face. If I'm curling it forward, of course, it's going to pull it forward to the face. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about which way do we want these front pieces to go. So generally speaking, when I'm in the front here, I like to kind of roll them back like this. You can roll them down like that if you do like that more defined part, but I like to switch it up once I get to the parietal ridge so that I can have like a variation in the curl. Okay, so here you can see that I'm building my base, okay, and then I'm wrapping the tail around. Again, I left Maria uncut on her layers so you could see that I have like straggly ends as well, and we want to make sure that we're thinking about that when we're curling it. Okay, holding that tail will allow me to get all those ends in and then roll it up. When I drop this curl, I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to pin it on its base. One thing I forgot to mention was there's usually a little lock and unlock button that controls whether or not this thing spins. I don't like it to spin, but it's a personal preference. So if it doesn't feel comfortable to you one way, try it the other way and see if that helps, okay? Some people prefer it to be able to twist. I don't really care for it. Okay, so then these two, I'm just going to curl in the same kind of direction, diagonal back. And again, this is a really great set for someone who like wants to wear their hair down, like if they're in a wedding or if they're going to a party and they want their curls to last. The cool thing about this set too is you can charge a little bit more than you would for like a typical curl. You know, depending on where you work, what city you work in, will determine what what your starting point in your charging is. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. But like Santa Barbara is a high destination wedding spot, so we tend to be able to charge a little bit higher because of our market than somewhere like in the Midwest where I'm from in Wyoming. Like I'm not going to make the money that I make doing weddings in Wyoming. Okay, so always check out your market and find out what people are charging and kind of go with that, you know, and then build your way up as you build your business. One thing that's I think super cool about this set is that it can make someone's hair who, I've had clients who have told me so many times, my hair doesn't hold a curl, it won't last all day, and I'm like, you want to bet? And this is my magic trick. All right, so here we're at this front part of the head here. I'm gonna turn it this way so y'all can see a little bit. No, you can't see that. Okay, so here, this section, I'm gonna roll these back this way. Okay, so I kind of turned her so you can see which direction I'm gonna be working in. All right. So, and then like I said, they should be about the size of your curling iron, the section. But of course, if they're a little different size, it's not gonna be the end of the world. It's still gonna get the job done. Another thing, you guys will notice that I'm working with a smaller curling iron. Again, if I have a client who has hair that doesn't like to hold a curl, I always go with the smaller curling iron, because then by the time I take out the curls and she's running around getting dressed and helping her friend get dressed or whatever she's doing, the curl has time to relax and settle in. It's another little trick. So if your client wants big beachy waves, starting with a 1-inch curling iron or 1 1/4 is going to be best for them. If they want a tighter, more romantic Victorian type of curl, then a 1-inch is definitely going to do the job. You'll see when I take out this Maria over here, what these curls look like when we're done. It's very dramatic and it's very curly, but remember, it relaxes, because generally these people are running around, weddings, hair is moving, tossing around, and then it relaxes. It also is determined by the weight of the client's hair. If they have thick, heavy hair, then the weight of that hair is going to pull it out more than someone who has finer, softer hair. So your Asian and your Latina clients, their hair tends to be on the heavier side, so the curl will tend to fall out, or not fall out, I'm sorry, relax more than someone who has softer, finer hair. All right, so here you can see, this is one of my pieces here. I'm gonna put my iron like this, and I'm gonna build that base. Holding this tail gives me control. Control. I'm never gonna stop. Janet Jackson, if y'all don't know, you should know. All right. So see how I'm still maintaining, I'm holding these itty bitty, like there's literally 2 hairs I'm holding on to. You wanna make sure that you get all of those ends in there. All right, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna finish this one, and I'm gonna take down my other lady so y'all can see what the curls look like when we're done. Be right back. All right, we're back with my lovely redhead here. Okay, so when I grabbed this doll, she literally was from the depths of wherever at school, and I did not wash her hair. I did not blow dry it, but you can see how much volume there is because of the way that I placed my curls and the way that I built my base. It lays so much volume in there for you. Now, of course, this dolly looks a little curly because this curling iron is very, very small. But if I would have done this with a 1-inch curling iron, it would have been absolutely beautiful for this length of hair. Now, what I'm doing is I have a brush hair that has natural bristle brush and a boar bristle. I'm sorry. It has natural bristles and it also has nylon bristles. So the importance is the mixture of the both. So you can like form and create these curls inside the hair. Okay. So now, like I said, you can use this for an updo styling, or you can use it for actually just like brushing them out and allowing them to wear their hair curly. you can encourage the curls how you want them to be. And that will give you a nice, beautiful, bouncy set. Hey Maria, I need you to keep your head up. Okay. You look at that guy. So funny. Okay. It's being a little difficult, but that's all right. I probably wouldn't leave these curls this small on her. I would probably use this for an updo set. But also, if the curls are ever too curly, you can just continue to brush them out. And they'll create a nice, I mean, that's definitely a certain kind of look, but very Victorian, very Hollywood glam, without using pin curls too. Nice and bouncy. All right. So there you have it. I hope you guys had fun. I did. Love you. Bye.